Hello, creators and wannabes, and welcome to a mini episode of The Business of Art, the podcast where we try to, well, let's be honest, we used to try to dispel and demystify art for businessmen, but really all we do now is really demystify business for artists. I'm your host, Russell Nolte, and today I want to talk to you about something. Something I'm very passionate about is being transparent with everything that we do here at the Business of Art at Kickstarter University and at Wannabe Press. And something pretty big happened today. We were supposed to launch our website, the big, fully done KickstarterUniversity.com. We've been living with a launch page for about 2.5 months, and we had originally said we were going to launch on December 1st, and that came and went, and then we were supposed to launch in the middle of December, and that came and went, and we were then supposed to launch on January 1st, and that came and went, and eventually we had to lay down some groundwork. I had a web development team working on the project, and I gave them a final deadline. I said, you have until yesterday, this is the 11th, so the 10th, to get everything done. I had a big podcast with Comics Tribe, which went very, very well, releasing that day, and I wanted to make sure that we had everything that we needed, that the website was up, that when Comics Tribe drove traffic to our site, we would have everything. We'd be able to maximize our ability to get signups and get people to take our courses and everything. And about 5 o'clock at night, the website still wasn't even close to being up. I hadn't even heard about it being up. So I had to make a executive decision. And that decision was to give our development team until noon today to finish, or we would have to terminate their services. Now, the website's expensive. I mean, we did not spare any expense on the site. This is not going and getting a WordPress theme and a plugin. It was, several $1,000s, and we were ready to eat that cost because we just had to get something done. So this morning, I got up. I'd done a bunch of research previously, kind of hoping that this wouldn't happen, but expecting that it might happen. So I had done a lot of research, and I knew exactly where I was going to build our new site. Now, I'm not a web designer or a web developer or a graphic designer, but kind of out of necessity, I've become something of a webmaster. I webmaster our site, Wannabe Press. I used to webmaster our old Wannabe Press site. I designed it. I did not code it because I use Squarespace. Build it beautiful. And I did, though, have to design and oversee the graphics and all of the other stuff that goes into the template design. Such as finding a template design. There's not a good one for Wannabe Press for comics, so I used a great one that I found online, so we could have all of the web comics that you see on our site. So I've done this before. I've been building websites all the way back to before Wannabe Press, back when Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter was a 6-page preview. No, that's not true. Before that, when The Wannabes was a 8-page preview, I've been building sites, and I've built maybe 10, 15 during these what you see is what you get templates from Homestead and Weebly and Wix and Squarespace now. So I knew at least what I was looking for as far as a design, and I can at least see behind the design to see if it's something that I'm going to want. And so it's kind of two options, Teachable or Udemy, in order to build your course site. And I knew I was going to build a Teachable site if I had woken up and the site still wasn't launched. So this morning, 6 a.m., the site wasn't launched. Now, they had 6 hours still to build the site up, but who has time to wait that long? So what did I do? Instead of writing, instead of producing this podcast, instead of doing anything else, this became my top priority. A little bit of backstory. I've been pretty bummed out about this for the past week, definitely for the past day. The last thing that I wanted to do was build a website. That's why I hired a development team, That's why I hired a marketing team. I did not want to be involved in any of that. I wanted to be involved in course creation, in delivering the highest quality content to you guys, in doing a podcast, and in writing. So the thought of building a website from scratch was unappealing to me. But guess what? 6 a.m. rolled around. There was no content to be created. And I could have whined about it all day. I could have complained. I could have worried. Or I could have gotten to work. And that's what I chose to do. So when I got up, I decided that if the worst case scenario was that I lost 6 hours of my life building this site, then so be it. But I had a pretty good idea that the site wasn't going to launch. Usually people don't wait to the last minute to launch a site that is compatible with my needs. So it's possible that someone will come and say, hey, I have something before the deadline, but it's very, very, very rare that I've ever seen somebody hit a deadline right on the nose with something that was acceptable to me, especially when they have missed multiple deadlines. So I started working. I already had all of the elements built. Thank goodness. We had 12 mini webinars, a long webinar, and a couple of bundle packages, plus some free ebooks. So we put together 20 different courses throughout the course of today. And, we had bought graphics, and we did the copy, and we built the sales pages, and everything is up. And right now it is 5:26, and we finished about an hour ago. My head is killing me, but I got it done. And I tell you this story because I read something in The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, and it's about laying track. And she always says, you have to lay track because the TV show, the train is coming. You have to keep laying track and laying track. Now, for her, it's a very, very real track. She's got 3 shows she's producing. The scripts have to be written every 8 days, because every 8 days, there has to be another show that people need to prep. However, this can be brought to your life as artists, because there's track that's being laid. I mean, there's a bus coming. There's a train coming. It's not a bus coming. Buses don't need tracks. But there's a train coming. You may not know what that train is. You may not know how fast that train's going to go. You may not know when it's scheduled to hit you. But that train is coming. And if you can sort of develop this idea that there's a train hitting you at some point in the future, that you just have to keep going, because eventually a train's going to catch up with you. And that train is opportunity. And opportunity and a break is really just when opportunity meets luck. Everyone's going to have a lucky break. Everyone's going to meet that guy or that girl or that producer or that art dealer or that tech venture capitalist who is ready to make a deal and is looking for something new. And that is your train. That is the train that you need to think, man, that's coming eventually. And am I going to be ready for that train? I don't know when it's going to come, but I need to keep laying track down. And I've been thinking about that a lot recently. And I've never been able to put into words exactly what this feeling is that I always have breathing down my neck. Because it's not competition. I don't really feel competition. In fact, I'm excited. I'm thrilled when other people succeed. I think that's the mark of a good artist and a good business person is you're not competing with other people. You're competing with yourself. In a world of 7 billion people, we can all find our audience. But there has always been this thing breathing down my neck. And it's this thought that there's opportunity that's going to come. There's a person out there. There's a lot of people out there, maybe. There's dozens of people, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know how many people there are that need this course right now, that need what I have to say, that need to know how to create Kickstarters and how to build their brand. There are at least one, me, and if there's one, there's at least 1,000. Now, if there's 1,000, there's probably 10,000 people out there in the world who are looking to do something similar to what I have to offer. And if I keep waiting, If I kept sitting at the station, that train's going to pass me by. Somebody else is going to do it. Heck, there are some other people doing it. Comics Tribe is doing a comic-related Kickstarter class right now. And there are other Kickstarter-related classes right now. People are hitting this opportunity very fast. People with much more developed comic book shows and much more developed podcasts than I have, and much more developed brands than I have. So if I kept waiting on the sideline, waiting for this developer to finish what they had to do, we would miss some opportunity. I don't know what opportunity is. Maybe it's just hitting one person out of 100 people that want our show or want our product. But the idea that you have to keep laying down track is a very powerful one, and one that sticks with me and has stuck with me since I read it. And I've been talking about it in a couple of the podcasts we've recorded for in the future. But this idea of laying track and continuing to move forward even when there's adversity is such a powerful one. And the ability to get punched in the face and get back up and just keep moving, that's a learned skill. That's not something anybody is born with, I don't think. That's something you have to just develop over time. This idea of, wow, you punched me in the mouth and now I'm kneeling, I can't do anything. Oh, and now I am ready to get back up. I salted my wounds for a couple of hours. I slept on it. And even though it still makes me bitter, and even though I don't even know how I can continue, I'm going to. That's a learned skill, but something that we can all do right now. Today, this minute, is think about the opportunity that's going to come. There's an opportunity that's going to come for you. And if you don't move forward, even if it's incrementally, even if it's a little bit at a time, even if it's tiny, tiny steps in the positive direction, you are going to miss that opportunity. And those opportunities don't come often. As someone who's been doing this for long enough to know, those opportunities do not come often. You will meet a lot of people in your life. A lot of people will meet you in their life as well. But the thought that you're going to meet a person that is important, and that person is going to want what you have to have, and that person needs what you have to have, and they're ready to accept the thing you have to have, that's a very uncommon occurrence, and you want to make sure you're ready when that happens. So this is a little bit of a ramble, I know. I really needed to get it out, though. I don't even know if I'm going to post this, frankly. I just needed to talk with someone about this deep, deep feeling of pain that I've been having about this website and this new responsibility that I have now that I don't really want. I don't want to be responsible for the whole marketing plan and the whole website development of this new site. But unfortunately, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, it doesn't fall on anybody else but me at the end of the day. I mean, I could walk away. There's nothing to say I'm not going to walk away, but if you know me at all, you know that's not going to happen. So I just want to caution everybody, and caution everybody once again to remember that the train's coming, and that thing breathing down your back and that and breathing on your neck is the idea that there's an opportunity that can come from this. It could be selling books. It could be meeting awesome people at your next con. It could be getting your next job. But then opportunity's coming, and if you don't lay the track down, if you don't keep laying the track down, if you're not fully invested in laying that track down, no matter how bad it gets, then opportunity is going to pass you by. And that's more than anything what separates people that are on the precipice or are working towards making it and people that give up, is that train passed them by because they weren't ready for it, because they didn't lay down track. So thank you for listening to this. I promise our interviews are a lot less morose and a lot less of a bummer, but I hope you got something from this. This podcast is about the business of art, and the business of art isn't always fun. It's not always glamorous. More often than not, it's a pain in the butt. More often than not, it's a business. is not the art. And most times in business, it's not fun. But I want to tell you about all of the things as much as I can because I want you to learn from them. You know, this, even though this is a setback for me, it hasn't knocked me down. It has knocked the wind out of my sails for a second, but here I am. I'm up again. I developed this website. I think it looks great. I think if you go to kickstarteruniversity.com, the ability to get things that are free. We have some free ebooks. We have some very cheap content for $10, $20. And we have some bigger courses for $100, and some bundles for even more expensive. For $200, you get all of our mini courses. And that's going to give you everything that you need to really get your Kickstarter off without a hitch. Well, there's always hitches. So the website's up. It's as best as I can do. I don't think that things need to necessarily be perfect to be able to be helpful. We can always learn and iterate in the future, but it is up, and I'm very excited for it to be up, and I'm very excited for you guys to see it. So please go to kickstarteruniversity.com and let me know what you think. Also, subscribe to the show. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you listening. And I appreciate the fact that you're letting me rant and that this little $99 Blue Yeti microphone has sort of become my therapist. So thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you next time.